right, guys, welcome back to Fantastic Fridays. Y'all know it is 7 p.m. and at 7 p.m. what we do? We talk the Ting with Kim. All right, so for this week, I said, for this month and I'm on to the topic of marriage. I've been wanting to do this topic for some time, but I just didn't want to connect with it. Any topic I come with, guys, I have to ensure I connect with it before I come and deliver it. Because I'm not going to deliver it properly if I'm not connecting with the message, yeah? So, it is working out. Yeah, Sammy Jo, I love it. Just a big up to Bad Girl, too. So, for this month, I want to talk about marriage. So, last week, if it is that you tuned in, we spoke about, are we marrying for the right reasons, right? And based on my research, I saw that guys, we've not been marrying for the right reasons. A lot of reasons are very selfish. A lot of them are very immature. Some of them is just for financial gain or benefit, or, you just don't want to die alone, or you feel like you're getting too old, you need to settle down now. Some is due to their faith, they just want to get married sooner than later, or the church is pushing them. You have persons who, because they have a child, you don't want the embarrassment, or for whatever reason, you feel like, okay, a child's going to fix the relationship. Well, let's get married. No, right? There's a whole lot more to marriage that we need to understand. So before you say yes to somebody engaging to you, and for the men, before you engage to somebody, I know women proposing now, but before you even say, if you can marry me or will you marry me, there are some things need to reason out, yeah? So I wanted, because based on my research, I saw lots of things about women and marriage and women needing marriage and marrying because of women. And I felt some type of way. I was like, some men don't want married too? Are they only marrying us because women want marriage? So on that note, we came with the topic, the male perspective on marriage. And then who better to get this from than some lovely gentlemen in here, right? So if it is that you're on the live, you should be able to see two other faces in here outside the oars. All right, gonna let them introduce themselves. So we're gonna start with the gentleman on my right. You can do first name basis, it's fine.
Right.
Yeah, so you can go ahead.
All right, evening everyone. The name is Cornel Lee. I'm a Christian by first and foremost, follower of Christ. I'm married for this year going to make 22 years. And I am 44 next week to do maths.
Okay. Well, you want to make it know him history, same as show the same thing.
You see, he has to do this.
I like it though.
He has to do this because I'm guessing she's listening, right?
Yes, she is.
Yeah. So he wants to go home to a peaceful home and make him know. So I did the maths.
Touche.
Get the dates right.
Put all the
Yeah.
No, for us, but the dates.
No, don't do that. Don't do that.
Not do that.
Let's take the information he's willing to give us. All right? We don't want.
I got married on December 23rd.
Okay.
The year 2000.
Him smart, Him smart, because December 23rd is a date that you remember, because right before Christmas Eve. And before Christmas Eve, very smart man. Very smart man. Not only did he marry young and still married, but him also smart, all right?
And we have two children. My wife's name is Michelle, and my daughter is Jordan, the elder of the two, and Michael is my son.
So you might get a big plate of food later, right?
Bad girl Chevy say, well, I know how long he married. You know the date of the wedding, but if they have problem, remember age.
No, I left that for you, for all the students in the class.
Yeah, man, I understand, man.
No, but
I saw them stay.
Guess so. Certain things become more important
That's
as time goes by. My age is no longer.
He's not going to be upset about his age.
It's the anniversary.
Somebody's going to be upset about the dates. Yeah.
So thank you so much. All right, so now we have a second gentleman in studio. Can you say good evening and introduce yourself?
All right, good evening, Joshua Bell.
Hold on. All right, go ahead.
All right, good evening, Joshua Bell. My intro isn't as profound. I'm not married as yet, hope to be. Pretty sure I want more than 2 kids, but Christian as well. And yeah, just happy to be here.
Okay. I love it.
And might I just say thanks to June Thompson. For
the reference. Trust me. Because I go to somebody, I'm going to say, I need someone who's married for a show. I want different perspectives. She's like, I know the right person. Like, she never itch. Before me even explain the rest of the reason, she said, I'm going to ask him no. Before me even done talk to her, she'll go WhatsApp him. So thank you so much for that. Yes. All right, so guys, let's get into it. As we said, it's the male perspective on marriage, right? Bad girl Chevy said, boy, in voice.
Yeah, John Vice, me I feel I try to turn up something by the speaker. I tell you, a lone bass.
Lone bass, right? All right, so guys, let's get into the first question. They've actually answered my first question. My first one was, first and foremost, are you married? So one person said, yes, he is. Cornel said yes. And then John said, not yet, but I hope to be. Yeah. Right? And then remember that we're putting Mr. Fresh Concept on the panel, so this question goes for you as well.
All right.
Are you married, sir?
No, the last time I checked, you see the relationship.
When last I checked first,
the relationship I was building what they teeth is cement, right? So, so not married. I haven't been married at all. But as them say, it's on the to-do list somewhere.
So you hope so, okay.
Yeah, you need a partner to get married, so it's not a one-person thing. So,
Okay,
yeah.
And then Cornel answered the second question. If yes, how long have you been married? 22 years ago. Come this year or next year? December coming. 22 years. Guy, that's a feat. Especially in this day and age, that is an achievement. So congrats.
Well, a feet are 5 toes. I'm several feet there.
You know that. I understand why the cement missing. I understand why it is missing.
I'll be over here. Sorry guys.
And then I was going to ask, to John and Lionel, do you intend to get married someday?
Yes. It's on there.
Yes, for both of you guys. All right, so let's start with you, Cornel.
Yes.
For the second question. What were some of your reasons for getting married?
All right, first and foremost, initially, I just got saved. It's just all about the Lord. But eventually, I saw somebody. When I saw her, I thought she looked nice and Ting. When I got to know her now, I realized that she was what I was looking for. So I wanted to get married because, for one, I fell in love with her. I saw her and I fell in love with her. I also knew that I wanted to have a partner that I can have fun with. I also, for ministry wise, I'd want to have somebody by my side, going
in that journey with you.
The same journey with me. And of course, I wanted to have children.
Oh. Okay, I think those are some guys, you see the reason them? We never have this on the list last week. These were some excellent reasons to want to get married. Things we need to think about, all right? All right, so Joshua, I know you said you want to get married, right? What are your reasons for wanting to get married?
All right, well, personally, for the majority of my life, I wasn't interested in marriage. Growing up in a broken home and most of your friends in a similar situation. Had a few relationships, didn't work out, but so I wasn't really looking for them. Now that I'm with someone who has me starting to think about home, kids, bettering myself, my career and everything, I think the reason for wanting to get married is pretty straightforward. You found somebody that inspires, builds and supports. Yeah, and in a world of chaos, it's good to have someone like that by your side,
And we're definitely in a world of chaos.
So you found someone who inspires you, builds you, and supports you, and this was what motivated you to start considering marriage.
Yeah, among other things. So,
Okay, I like that. Once again, reasons to get married, guys. Nothing like the list we had last week. So, Mr. Fresh Concept, we go fast now your business a little bit.
Yeah, well,
what
the thing.
reasons?
You know the thing. I mean,
you have?
You wanna start a family. You wanna have that person that you can, share your things with and share your life with and build together with and so on. You want a home, basically.
Not a house, home.
Even when you have the house, you come home by yourself. A different thing when you have, somebody to be there with you throughout that. So, yeah, definitely looking forward to that.
And to build a future with. I like that. Curtis Shakespeare said, with that voice, your children must behave. I cannot bother. That's a compliment, but them now misbehave. None talk.
You never say that. Just grumble.
Right? So like how mothers have a look. You just grumble. All right, fair enough. I love the answers we're getting so far. Yeah, I hope gentlemen are not listening because, I feel like this is something that we need to work on in our society and our culture. We don't know the dating world right now in shambles. And as I tell you guys, I have these conversations. Come here, Charlie. Do fixing. I hope that you guys are learning stuff. So not just to listen to for listening's sake, or not just to hear, because hearing and listening is two different things. Listen and learn something from it, yeah? And if you have questions, feel free to ask it. It's the right place to ask it right now, all right? So, number 3. As the topic states, we are seeking the male perspective on marriage, right? So, what is your personal opinion on marriage? And then I'm going to ask you, what do you think is the general male perspective? And why I separated it? Because your perspective may not be the majority, right? So I want to know your perspective on marriage, if you think, okay, it's something that should be done or it's important or whatever it is. And then after that, you can say, well, based on the men around you or conversations you've had or society as we know it, this is what you know men perspective to be, all right? So we can start with Joshua this time.
Okay. All right. Well...
So your perspective first.
Yeah, my perspective, coincidentally, has also been influenced by the men in my life, friends and so. And it's not complicated. I think people complicate what marriage should be. It's a union of two people that put each other first.
Definitely.
Right?
I love that. Hold on, what slow it down? Slow it down. Repeat that. It need to connect. It need to connect.
Josh, I go like say him go like a little
school before him come. I ain't come here well prepared. Him the teacher. All right, so hold on. We have to put we have to actually repeat that. So you said a marriage is a union of two people who put each other first.
Bam.
I love that. That's the shortest yet profound explanation ever. Yeah. You know? Yeah. All right, so sorry to interrupt you, sir. I just had to put focus there. You can go ahead.
But I mean, that's what it is at the core. You know? And again, tying into the young men in my life who are married or in serious relationships, the ones that had worked out, the ones that haven't, there's a distinct difference in why they worked out, the ones that did and why they didn't. Right? It's not complicated. Men and women have a lot in common as well. So I feel like we use the gender thing to
try and
that brings in unnecessary challenges. We all want the same thing. We all want to know that at the end of the day, we have somebody looking out for us. A lot of the stereotypical view is a man wants a woman that can cook. Okay. Everybody wants someone that can cook. When you go home and you're tired, we all eat food, right? I cook for my girl. When she works her crazy overtime, she cooks for me. And, so there's no role. It's just support.
Putting each other first, basically.
Putting each other first. It really doesn't have to be complicated. Right, so that's my response.
Okay, and then you touch on the general, what you think the general public or men in general, how they view marriage.
Well, I guess my perspective on general is going to be different. Different circles, different.
Yeah.
But, well, university has exposed me to different groups, different circles, and during my professional career, likewise. It seems the general view is a woman is there to, as I said earlier, cook, provide sexual release, or just cater to the man's every primitive and whatever need, and the guy protects and provides and does this thing. A bit caveman to me.
It's giving caveman.
A bit caveman vibes to me because at the end of the day, again, we live in a very
changing
dynamic
and
world.
Modern.
Role, gender doesn't determine
what you do,
financial capacity anymore. Right. So it's really about what you are able to bring to the table and what your partner is able to bring, and y'all have this symbiotic relationship. Because at one point, one can be out earning the other one, and that doesn't speak less of the person that's under earning.
True.
So money is important, but it shouldn't be the catalyst.
And then sometimes that also changes.
That is why the connection shouldn't be based.
It shouldn't be about that.
It shouldn't be a financial connection. That's a business.
Yeah. Yes, I like that.
But if the two involved are able to work with that, that's fine. Because, affianced relationships was a thing. Planned marriages. So you just have to know what you're getting into and be as clear as possible. But marriage at the surface isn't a complex thing.
Okay.
So here, guys, you hear it. Marriage is not that complex. Let's stop overthink it. All right, so we're going to Cornel. Cornel, I'd like your feedback. So your perspective on marriage, and then overall what you think the general male perspective is on marriage.
My perspective is based on scripture. I got saved at 15 years old, and growing up in the church and reading the scriptures for yourself, you understand this was established by God, and it is a foundation basically for any society. And of course, He established it between a man and a woman, and from that perspective, everything else morphs. Yes. If a male and female doesn't come together, there's no expansion of the human race. You understand me? And so, I believe also that it's, as my brother said, it's a one honoring the other, and the scripture speaks to that. That if you must think of the other person as yourself. Now, if you love yourself, you're not gonna want to hurt yourself.
Right.
Yeah.
So if you love her, your wife,
you're not gonna hurt her.
You're not gonna want to hurt her. No, teeth and tongue are gonna meet.
Yeah, it's expected. It's not a perfect world.
It's not a perfect world. However, as my wife and I would normally do whenever we have disagreements, is a post-mortem. We sit and we talk it over and we look at what happened. I am more detailed like a surgeon. She will just pass the tools and I go dive.
And you dissect and say, all right, this is the problem.
Yeah.
Let's fix that.
Yeah. And she gives her feedback. And that's another thing I think needs to be maintained in marriage. Everybody has a voice. Not because you're the male, you're the dominant figure. You're gonna enslave somebody to love you or gonna enslave somebody to stay with you? No. Love is free. Love is something that should be given willingly. And once it is given willingly, it will be reciprocated. And as my brother said again, it's not complicated. What I've heard on the road though, talking to the men.
To the general,
most men see marriage as for the woman, not necessarily for them, especially if the woman is in church and the man is not a sinner.
Yeah,
not
or out of the church,
You know, even not just married her because she don't want to have a feel like she'll commit sin rarely. So he would marry her. And again, I hear out there that most of the time when the man want to get married, they eventually get married to somebody is because he want to hold this one. This are the chosen one among the others.
Yeah,
so number one right here.
Exactly. But and at the same time, they appreciate. They tend to appreciate the wife or the woman at home, notwithstanding them still have whatever.
Yeah, have them other options, but wife a fair rule.
Wife has her space, and for most of them say, "Oh, nobody can come against my wife." But I think it's kind of oxymoron because
you start bringing people against your wife.
The man's not
yeah. But I think that's the general view out there that is really and truly for the woman. And there's one more thing that I hear them say is like there's a certain level of stability, and I think most of the young men are coming to the realization that, and I don't want to God of this, but they come to the realization that stability is important. Yeah. And to have more than one children all over the place, whatever, if you get a $10, you have to spread it all over the place. True. For those who are going to maintain and take care of them children. So them come to them consciously, them I said, no, mom.
You can't, it's all over the place, though.
You know, in fact, my father told me this, too. And my father, God bless his soul, he had about 22 children.
Hold on. 22 years of marriage and 22 children.
In fact, well, my siblings say it was 24. What he says no is about 22.
So the siblings said 24.
So it's still a try the math. It's still a
two up for grabs. All right.
But it was with different women.
Yeah.
And he said to me, had he been wiser, had he been wiser then than he was when he spoke to me, then he would have been a millionaire because he has wasted a lot of money. And this thing where he had his children spread all over the place, in fact, he made every attempt to bring all of them together before he died. I think he barely succeeded because all of us didn't come together. Yeah. Tell you one quick story. I hope my sisters listen. Hope she not. I went by my father's house, my father's workplace once, and I saw this beautiful damsel across the road. I was like, wow, she looks nice. Lo and behold, I then went back into the office. I went outside, I came out of the office. The secretary said, have you met your sister? I was like, no. And she called over the same young lady.
The same one where you said was wow. Problems.
Your sister, I don't know.
Problems.
That's how it was.
Yeah.
And I've listened, even before I got married, I listened to the elders. And they would say, it don't make no sense, youth. Just
The second on one person.
Yeah, have one person. If I $10, the $10 stay in your house and you the kids.
Makes sense. I like it. And that's really what I'm getting as a general male perspective, right? Because even I spoke to a few people since week, and somebody said, yeah, for real, when he had his last relationship, him just engaged us for shut her up, basically. He literally used those words. Wow. She wanted marriage. He knew he probably wasn't going to have a wedding, but just to stop the argument, he proposed. So it really seemed like men are, right? Right? So you knew that even if a marriage happened, that wouldn't have probably been a very successful one, which is why I said we're marrying for all the wrong reason. To appease somebody is not a right answer. If you don't want them for that, no bother. Right? So that's why we're having this discussion. So I like that you mentioned your dad and what you learned from your dad, you know, when he was wiser. So I wanted to ask, when growing up as young boys or young men, what were you taught or told about marriage by your parents? So I know you started on that. Any other tips that you learned regarding marriage? 'Cause I want to know really if this influences how you think now.
The truth is, I grew up with my stepfather and my mom, not with my dad. I wish it was the case, but he was in my life. So most of the influence that came regarding marriage was in church. My mother, kind of a single parent, but my stepfather was there. But she would just guide me as best as she can. But most of what I learned and that influenced my thinking came from church, being in church.
So you basically got guidance from early, leading you towards that thought process already.
Right.
All right.
So that would have been, let's say, you had, for example, like role models then in church, probably a pastor and pastor wife or deacon. You saw them, you know, living what you think a good marriage would be.
Right. There were models that I saw, and there were some that I saw that I would not model.
That you wouldn't want to.
All right.
Fair. I like how you just, drop that right there.
You know, remember, see, you're learning here, so you have to.
And it's facts. Yeah. It's the truth he's talking.
Because, and I reason I said, because sometimes, I'm not going to talk about that.
Yeah.
Sometimes in church, the husband or the wife tends to stay doing church work in the name of the Lord.
Take up too much of the
affecting the
relationship
marriage.
And the wife is at home, you know. In fact, I've had one of my pastors we had a seminar, and his wife said she began to hate church people.
Because he was dedicated his time.
Her husband would be called.
Always busy, yeah.
And she's like, don't they have a conscience?
Yeah.
And because I'm at the pastor, I'm going to answer.
I'm going to answer everybody, no matter what time.
I set the rule in my house, nobody calls me after 10.
Okay.
So no matter who.
No,
and I like
mother.
that.
No mother.
You don't know,
Save himself right there.
You know, mother will give it a line that I bring you in this world and I can take you out.
Trust me.
But yeah.
All right, I like that. All right, and then for you, Joshua, what was the advice I know you said from a broken home you weren't very inspired for marriage. So is it that you didn't really get much guidance or advice on it?
Till after, probably later on.
All right, so my dad lived with us until we were young, like 9, 10. So I was able to see a marriage.
A piece, yeah.
Mom and dad. I was able to see challenges. I was able to see happy times. I was able to see various. But when things began to go downhill, and we got older, speaking to my dad, one away, mom one away, and then just maturing overall. One of the more profound lessons I learned, in an unspoken class, and it was marriage is work. No, yes, you want to be in a marriage where you feel comfortable and relaxed, and you can. You don't have to try. You don't feel like you have to try to win the person's love every day.
Yeah.
Fair. There's a place for that. But marriage is work, meaning it's selfless. Just an example. You can't be at home all day and your partner is out working, and then they come home and have to cook, clean, and all that, right? Because if that was the other way around, you wouldn't want that. So it's work. Marriage is a living, breathing thing. You have to invest in it. You have to you have to be selfless. So that's what you can't go into it thinking I want my husband or my wife should be giving me this and just taking. It's a very parasitic type of relationship. So that's what I learned. Marriage, anything that is good requires work. I've never met or received or had something that was extremely good.
And it didn't take
that just
effort.
came by the fly. It's work. But that's the common misconception.
Okay.
A lot of people are getting married for weddings, not.
Yeah, for the pictures and the weddings and the gifts and stuff. But why I asked that question specifically is because I wanted to know if it's based on what we see that determine what we think in the future towards it, you know? So I wanted to know, okay, you said you saw your stepdad, stuff like that. You say you had a broken home, but then still you turn around and say, you know, based on what you see from your friends and you've learned or you've changed your opinion on marriage. So I just really wanted that question specifically because I wanted to know if it is that most of these guys out there who thinking it's for the woman or it's just because you want somebody to cook, clean, whatever, is because they grew up seeing that they still think that way.
All right, I think, all right, you see right now, from what I've observed, it's it's going to be just like life. It's going to be like two parts of life out there. You have your little inner desire. Because there are people out there, probably some of the more serious galleys or whatever you want to call it.
One second down.
They say, okay, they have their dream or plan is to, you know, get married one day, settle down with their wife. You know, even though they possibly might not be able to have one woman based on the experience that they've been having, but it's a part of their dream. But then, you know, you have society out there.
It's telling you something else.
A girl is boy, but they are settle down, you turn one burner.
Really, one girl you gotta stick to.
Right, and they get so caught up in the hype. Because, I mean, that's part of that's part of why persons don't get married as well. People get married for the hype. You know, some girl be like, yes, she get married. Ask her if she
can't wear a ring. She just want the ring for can show.
Right? And then the same thing on the other end, some people are not getting married for the hype because they want to say, yo, but no, nobody say me lockdown. I love to be. I got 15 years strong, me not give her no bun. But I'm not married her because I'm not locked down in case she want, you know? So these situations do happen. So we're faced with our inner decision and we also face with what we think
the external
people will say.
Yeah. Okay, I like that.
Yeah.
All right, so guys, that takes us to the 7:30 break. Don't worry, we're still with you after the break. More questions to come. And remember, the topic is the male perspective on marriage.
News Talk 93 FM. Heard everywhere.